Hi, and welcome to Heiser Media's coverage of the 2024 Long Island Open presented by Long Island Disc Golf. Coverage today was filmed on September 21st in East Islip, New York at the world-famous Heckscher Forest Disc Golf Course. I am your host, Adam Walsh, joined by Michael Berrell. Hey, Mike.
How's it going?
Really well, thanks. Today we will be showing you the front 11 of the round one feature card. Starting off on hole one. So what do we have here, Mike?
So hole one is 568 feet. It is a par 4, kind of bends off to the right and then hooks back over to the left behind a large guardian tree.
And we'll be taking a look at Joshua McDonnell here. Seem to be finding the sweet spot there, right down the middle. Deep, very long. Should be a very manageable upshot. We got Phil Rascona up on the tee box next. Probably just a little bit more turn and not quite enough height. Hopefully I'll find a way to recover from there. Josiah Zoodsma up third. Lots of great angle release from Josiah. Going to see a lot of Heiser flip-up stuff, both the backhand and the forehand. And rounding out the group here, we've got Antonio Albert. Good snap low. A little heavy on the skip, but he beat the guardian tree on the left. I think he's going to have a manageable upshot. So Phil with his second shot from right around the red tee.
Something that people are used to throwing from.
Yeah, this will be a look that the locals are familiar with. Catching some cabbage, probably coming up a little bit short. It looks like he's on the front side of the bunker tree. Josiah from the center of the fairway. Seems like he got hung up there coming through the doorway. Antonio's got a nice angle here off to the left. Didn't seem to like it by the reaction. And here's Joshua just way down the fairway.
That's a huge shot.
Definitely one of the better drives you're going to see. He's made it into the circle. I think he's going to think he might have put that one a little bit closer. Antonio, pretty routine. Nice Heiser up shot. And Josiah seems to have made good from underneath a tree. And Phil with a long look at a 3 here.
Oof.
Not on hole 1. Joshua makes good. Shot. I think he's going to be very happy with that putt. Antonio clean from just inside the circle. And hopefully just a couple of routine tap-ins here for Josiah and Phil. All right, so hole 1. Card plays at 1 under. Nice to see. Josh with the very nice birdie. Great drive. Really just... You come take a look at that hole yourself, you'll see.
It is not an easy drive on that.
Now, hole two is going to be pretty routine. Par 3, 396 feet, right down on the other side of the field. This will be our first hole featuring world-famous LIOB. So anything that Heiser's out to the left is going to be in danger of that OB. Josh got that turning quite a bit. Hopefully it stays towards the edge. Natural OB over there, no penalty, but he'll have to throw out of some tall stuff.
Definitely looks windy there.
And on this hole, everything seems to swirl. Phil, probably a little more turn than he needed. He gets it down to about pin high, but maybe about 60, 70 to the right. Let's see what Josiah does here. A little low on the release. He should have a pretty routine up and down there to save the par. And Antonio will round out the card on hole 2. Good release. Yeah, the wind's really playing with the flight of that disc. That's just a beautiful drive.
That's it.
Beautiful drive. No danger of the OB on the left. Let's see. Josiah looks to try to put it close. Again, I think I saw a pretty good wind shear on that disc, so probably a very swirling wind down there. Here's Joshua coming out from the tree line. Gets it inside the circle. And Phil maybe giving it a half run. You got some tall, low ceiling rather, on that run, so I think he'll be happy just to have put it close. And Antonio with a chance for the 2. Great putt.
Nice.
Great putt. Fantastic form from Antonio. Really fun to watch the way he throws and putts. And yeah, that might be edge of the circle here.
Oh.
Flashing off the basket. Josiah cleans up the par. And a couple of more tap-ins here. So, again, it looks like we're going to have 1 birdie and 3 pars. Antonio on the board with his first birdie of the round. And we'll be heading over to hole 3 in just a moment here.
No, it's a bogey for Josh, right?
Good point. Good point. Yep. Sorry about that, Josh. I think you got time to get him back.
All right, we have hole 3 is 320 feet. It is pretty straightforward. It curves off a little bit to the right, and you got to kind of play around a few different trees.
This is a great angle to see the line from. You want to be flying right down the middle of the fairway. Maybe a little bit of gentle turn, but really it's a straight shot. Antonio crashing through the bunker tree there.
Taking
puts
the
himself
risky
out to the edge of circle 1 on the backside. All right, Phil's taking an alternative route here. Big hyzer line out the right-hand side of the tee. Not your average play. Phil did well to get it down. There's certainly no trouble from where he is there. Gonna have a big putt for a chance at the 2. Josiah lining up the more traditional line. Doesn't look like it's got the turn it needed. And got caught up over there short. I hope it didn't go OB there. There is OB down the left-hand side if the disc hyzer's out too much. Joshua does okay. Cut rolls back to the middle. Yeah, Josiah's down here on the right-hand side of the hole. Pretty easy hyzer up from the right, but there is some ceiling, and it looks like he may have found some there. Good upshot there from Joshua. Phil looking to cash from outside the circle. Very close. And Antonio maybe 34 feet. Just a little low. Josiah with a tester for the par. Makes good.
All right.
You like to see that. I've heard those pro commentators talk about how it's nice to make a 30, 28, 29 footer there early in the round, get your confidence up. Josh tapping in the par. And Antonio and Phil are going to clean up. So, Mike, we're heading over to 3A next. What are your thoughts?
Oh, so many thoughts about this hole. It is the
Where do you
newest
go?
hole.
You're gonna go down the right, up the middle, or the left? What do you do? A little combo of both?
I personally like to tease myself and try to take that middle line. I know a lot of guys try to take that right side to it, and for me, I feel like it's not clear enough. I don't know. I can't get the confidence for it.
Here's the hole, folks.
The middle is just too
200 feet.
tempting.
It's 200 feet. It's par 3. It's right in front of you.
It's a straight line. How hard could it be?
It's a straight line. How hard could it be? Antonio looks to be lining up the right-hand side. Just a couple trees to beat, and you can put it right under the basket. That's, I'm going to think, a little wider than he meant it. Looks like he's got most of the way down there. Should be a chip and a putt, maybe a chance to run one. Phil taking the more traditional right-hand side and finding a much more traditional tree.
Oh.
Josiah sticking with the theme, and Josh is going to show us that forehand maybe through the middle down the left. Let's see. Oh, left all the way. There is a line. Oh, that's excellent.
Wow.
See, Mike, it's an easy hole. Josiah from a knee. Oh, wow. You love to see it.
Wow.
You love to see it. Josiah is a guy with a ton of ultimate experience, just tremendous control, forehand and backhand, and this looked like he was just tossing one into the end zone here.
From a knee.
Ah, beautiful. Really nice to see. Very unconventional birdie, but getting a birdie on hole 3A is going to feel pretty good, from red or blue.
Probably not how he drew it up in his head, but...
No. Phil not too bad off to the left-hand side there. Gets it up, and Antonio gave himself a look. It's not an easy one. Oof. And it's a fairly understandable outcome there. All right, 2 birdies and 2 pars, not bad for 3A. Hole 4.
So hole 4, we got what? 423 feet. It's one of the more birdied par 4s on the course, I guess, right?
I think so. We've got some big long throwers here. There's going to be at least a chance for an eagle, I hope, if they can fly the fairway cleanly. Josiah is going to show you the very traditional gentle backhand turnover down the left, drifting back to the right. There's also a very good forehand option. You're just hoping for a forward push and maybe even a forward skip. That seems a little early, but it did fight through. He's far enough up, he might have something from there. Antonio with a more gentle turnover right down the middle. Should have made it far enough down to have a chance to get up and down for the birdie. And Phil's got it working down the biggest part of the fairway, but it does catch an early tree. Honestly, from wherever you land on this hole, this lie perhaps notwithstanding. What a clever throw. Wow. That was a forehand with a lot of left turn on it. Got some really good push. Not going to be in great position for the birdie, but might have a chance to toss one in. Phil taking the wide outside line. He's beat the basket by quite a bit, but he should have a pretty unobstructed look. Josiah seems to be off to the right-hand side here. Does well, gets it up to about circle's edge, maybe a straddle off that tree. Josh caught something early. He's still going to be somewhere around circle's edge for a chance. And Antonio gave it a good bid. Here's Phil, maybe 40 deep. One tree to beat. And here's Josiah with that straddle. Gave it a chance. Tough break there for Josh. And some cleanups coming. Yeah, fun hole. It's definitely one that you're You're going to be disappointed in the par here. This course just, especially with the OB lines, we've got a stretch of it coming up here on 5, 6, and 7, and a fairly treacherous setup on hole 8. So with no OB and a generous distance, that's a birdie we're hoping to get there in this situation. On hole 5, so we're going to have a par 3, 300 feet. The way the camera's looking is probably not the prescribed route. We're probably going to see people play things out to the left-hand side, fading back or turning in. The big danger here is the OB line all the way down the left-hand side, very far inside from that road you can see. So the one thing we can't do today is let anything drift too far to the left. So those forehands need to fight back. Josiah has done just that. And giving him a good chance for the 2 there, probably just outside the circle, but a clean look. Josh got that a little flatter. He's going to get better distance on it, but that one guardian tree is right where it needed to be. He should have a pretty easy chip and a putt. Antonio will show us the backhand line. Start out to the left, keep it turning, drift it in. He's going to like that. He's running a little bit long, but he can't be upset with the effort.
Is there OB deep on that hole? I don't remember.
Not this year.
Okay.
Man. You're welcome, everyone. I heard some mixed feedback about OB long off of last year. I took it into account when we were setting the lines up.
I think Antonio would have been in trouble had that been last year's layout.
Very plausibly. Josh giving it a bid from looking about 60. Like the height. Gave it a chance. He'll tap in for a pain-free par there. Fills out here in the rough on the right. Got to drift it in. I like that he gave it the height.
A little backstop with that tree helped.
Josiah is going to pop one from, I'm going to say 38. And Antonio, I think, with a full circles putt here. Let's see. No problem. Easy money. Easy money from Antonio. Great putt, great birdie. Traditionally, this is a stretch of holes 5, 6, and 7 where you'd love to get all 3. You're probably not going to, but all 3 are there to be had. And if you can be walking over to hole 8, getting the lefty stretch here, you're happy. Hole 6, just over 300 feet. This one's going to have a very natural hyzer line down the right-hand side, something that gets up to flat, pushes, and just a nice soft finish back to the basket. There is a dead straight and forehand route available. The forehand's going to have a lot of flex on it.
But again, that OB on the left is there just like the hole before.
And again, OB all the way down the left-hand side. So, there was a lot of hyzer on that throw from Antonio. That's the kind of throw that with the right skip could have got yourself over to the OB line. Josiah with a very creative forehand line here. Flipped it up, pushed it down. Beautiful.
I think he'll be happy with that.
That's not a line you're going to see a lot of guys throwing. That's a hyzer flip forehand that fought from right to left the whole way down. Josh with a much more traditional line here, but that center tree's just got a magnet on it, it seems. I don't think Phil wanted that quite as far right as it got to, but he wasn't punished too badly with the kick. Antonio, it's a little easy toss-up shot. He's got the distance right. I like his chances from there. Such a hard thing to do. That's great. I think his reaction let me think that might have gone away from him a little bit, but that settled up very nicely. And I'm gonna call that a run. Antonio cleans up the par, and it looks like everybody should be getting out of here without any damage. And Josiah yet to act. Now is allowed to tap in that birdie. That's one of the closest CTPs you're going to see on this hole.
Yeah.
And again, just a very creative route to get there. Most forehands are going to be flexing something down the left-hand side and skipping it back in. That was very pretty.
Not a lot of people that have the control to take that line.
No, you're absolutely right. Hole 7, 276, a little bit shorter, very clean gut shot here. And as the previous was offered, there is an opportunity to go down the left-hand side, but looks like Josiah is lining up the middle route here.
It's another one of those that the middle should be easy. It should be tempting, but it's oftentimes a lot harder than you want it to be.
Absolutely. Common mistake there, just a little too much turn on it, drifted it into the wood line, should have an easy out. Antonio, I'm going to ask him when I see him if he missed his line or if he threw something really flippy there. I'm not sure. I think he wanted that down the center, but he got away with it for sure. Josh, again, that backhand turnover down that part of the fairway is definitely there, but it does bring,
that's my run usually.
Yeah, it does bring some low ceiling trees.
It does.
Phil's got this flat, little high. Oh, it's beautiful.
Very nice.
That's it. That's really what you're looking to do.
No, another one where it has that left OB, but it's not really as much of a concern on this hole as the others, but it can come into play.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, if you early release or if you overplay something fast with a skip, it's going to get you there. But this hole really asks you to go right up the middle the way Phil did. Did it beautifully. He used every inch of the ceiling and just nestled up really nicely next to the basket there. Josiah with a look maybe? Yeah, he definitely gave it a shot there, but he was coming out of a lot of rough. And Antonio left himself a little more here than he wishes. I'm glad he made that
putt. All right,
putt.
he made it.
Real glad he made that putt. Oh, I'm sorry. That was the drive. That was excellent. That was excellent. That's a great two.
Oof. All right.
You hate to see it. Phil cleaning up. Just a beautiful birdie there. As designed. All right, Mike, what do you think about the OB on hole 8 as we get over there next?
It's, a fairly punishing setup there. It's the idea that when you're on that tee pad, you know that the bushes on the right are OB, but you don't know exactly where it sits and kind of how far it cuts in, and you just have to have a lot of faith in your throw when you're on that spot.
So you agree that it's some of the best OB on the course. That's excellent to hear.
Something like that.
Let's see if Antonio can find a clean landing space here. Middle is safe. Or so I thought.
Oh, yeah.
Or so I thought. So
I
don't know if
the guy who
wind,
painted the lines.
Wind picked up or what, but that disc just had way too much finish on it for the shape of the fairway today. Phil looks like he went with a similar line, and I'm equally worried.
Similar result.
Similar result. Let's see if Josiah can get the angle right. Seems to have a bunch of highs. I think he may have dissed down on that. That may have been just a really well thrown mid range, but he kept it safe and he's given himself at least a look at the two. And Josh is going to want to get one back here. Let's see how we do. Good flip to flat. Soft finish. That's beautiful.
Really when you asked me my thoughts on the OB, I instinctively was thinking the right side. I didn't really even think about the left side coming into play like it did for two of them.
Yeah, I wonder if it was just maybe a misread on the wind because both of them really sent a disc down there with far more left-hand finish than they needed. Phil gave it a valiant effort to save the par there. I think he's going to be okay with that comebacker. Antonio's going to be hoping to do the same. I mean, they got their discs down to basically pin high, which is what, that's what you want to do. If you're dealing with an OB stroke, you want to be close. What an effort. What a great effort. And Josh here for a chance to strike one of those strokes back from the last hole. No.
Not quite it.
This basket in particular, I find, experiences the effects of the wind about as much as any basket on the whole course.
Yeah.
It's a great comebacker there to secure the bogey, stop that bleeding, make sure it doesn't get any worse. No, I got to tell you, Mike, I feel good about the OB lines on this one. I really do. I think that the distance is challenging enough that, you know, asking you to control the landing is a reasonable ask.
I
It's a
get it.
shame when it doesn't happen, though. And
Oh,
gosh, that's two holes in
no.
a row. You know, back on 7, I really felt like the chains did him a little dirty on that. You know, it kind of slid right through the chains, and that's going to happen. This
Yeah.
one, a little left side caught the pole. I'm really hopeful that he can find his stroke there and kind of save himself the torture of those extra strokes. Hole 9, we're going to be looking at a par 4, 474 feet. We've got a wide landing zone off the tee leading into a tight tunnel and a very guarded green. This is an excellent birdie to get. It's one you really want. The 2 shots that you need to get there are pretty fundamental, but there's a lot of trouble between you and the basket. So not an easy hole by any stretch.
Not a lot of room for mistake here.
Exactly. Josiah going backhand turnover, probably putter speed. He's drifted to the left, but he might be short enough that he's going to have a look down the alleyway there. Antonio going with the forehand. I like this play for him. I'm hoping that found its right edge and skip forward, but it looked to come up a little bit short. Phil going to go back to that backhand putter. Turnover, aim it right at the hole.
Very nice. Right? Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
That's
With
it.
a nice gentle kiss back to the doorway. And Josh following Antonio's forehand line here. It's the problem. If it gets too flat, you're going to find that wall of bushes right there. He's going to be left with probably a layup back to the alleyway.
I've spent too much time there myself.
Antonio's centered up on the on the lane, and he's able to get it most of the way down. The Guardian Trees did their job. He'll have a very outside look for the 3. Josiah got that a little too much turned over there and let it drift into the woods on the left. Phil from truly just an ideal landing zone.
And through the trees.
Cuts the smallest gap and puts it in the bullseye. Putter, easy game. Yeah, I think we actually might have missed the layup from Josh to get to that spot. That was likely his 3rd. He did really well to navigate down the hallway and get it up close to the basket. And Josiah turned way into the woods here, but he made it to the front edge for a pretty easy pitch out of the woods. He'll clean up that par. Antonio gave it a chance. Now here's something interesting. Let's see where his next shot's from, because he may have put himself in some danger with those low branches back there. Oh, jeez. That was a great looking putt. Obviously a little high in the chains, but you want to see that one stay in. Yeah, so sure enough, Antonio's got himself into a little trouble with these trees back here. I'm glad it didn't cost him a stroke. But my suspicion is he found himself a little frustrated when he realized where that disc slid to. It's a shame of a bogey from Josh. He did really well to get himself in position to save the par, made a good putt. I think that putt sticks on a lot of other days.
Yeah, it was 3 holes in a row too, which has got to get in your head.
Absolutely.
So hole 10 being one of the longer holes, we have almost 700 feet with a really big left-hand turn. And these are some of my favorite guys around here to watch play this hole, because they all kind of have their own unique approach to it. But
absolutely. Phil's going to show us a pretty traditional booming hyzer, although that's gotten very flat. I think he's going to test the wood line over here. When you've got big distance, you can't afford to let this disc get flat. It's got to stay on hyzer the whole time. Josiah giving it no chance of doing anything other than staying on Heiser. And he's put it in a perfect landing zone there.
You heard them mention the headwind, which it must be because none of those are really wrapping that corner at all.
No. As soon as they're Antonio choosing the high route again, I think it's probably a much safer option. He manages to get it around the corner a little bit. Again, nobody pushing it too aggressively down the second part of the fairway here. We'll see if Josh that seemed to have a good amount of left-hand swing. I think he might have bit off an extra 40 feet, but
yeah, he did go deep on this.
And Phil really did test that long wood line and is testing now the left wood line, but that's a very favorable kick and roll. He's in a good spot for his third. Should be a pretty easy chip and a putt. Josiah's got a chance to put this one all the way down by the basket, but it's going to take a lot. I think that could be challenging the ceiling too much. It probably caught something up high there and just drifted out to the left. And Josh needed to put just about everything on that forehand. Gave it probably just a little too much and turned it over, but no harm, no foul. Chip and a putt. And Antonio immediately doesn't like it, but he does catch one heck of a skip.
Nah, not a bad spot.
No way. He'll have we'll call it 90 feet.
Okay.
Phil chose the hovercraft approach. Ooh, and Josh giving it a fair bid there.
Good luck.
That was nice. Josiah from out of the forest, trying to repeat the magic of 3A. Not this time, but keeps it in the circle. And here's Antonio with the shortest of the long bids. Oh, he's walking it in, but the pole says no. I admire the confidence walking it in. He loved the putt. He knew he did his job. He gave it his best chance. Physics
said on his face when it fell out. He did not expect that.
No. Would have liked for him to have found it, as this is going to bring us to the end of the first 11 holes here at the 2024 Long Island Open on Heiser Media. I am excited to see how this round progresses. The back 11, I should say, is going to feature some long holes, some tight holes, and some OB. Lots more OB to come.
Josiah is still playing clean. You know, there's a lot to see how this goes now.
Absolutely. A look at the scores here, and then I believe we'll take a look at the bigger leaderboard here. Local boy Kevin Hutchins shooting with the top of the pack here, followed out by Zach Spire, Phil Ryan, and Parker at one down, and the rest of the crew even or better. So thank you all so much for tuning in and watching. I sincerely hope you will join us on the back 11 round 1 Long Island Open, presented by Long Island Disc Golf here on Heiser Media. If you haven't done so already, we highly encourage you to check out the social medias, get yourself subscribed. A lot more action coming up in the off season here. Stick around. We'll see you on the back 11.